session. User interface. All controls are at the bottom of the screen. These controls include the chats or comments, raise hand icon under reactions icon, and the live transcription of the meeting. Note that this meeting is recorded and is available on the Afrinic YouTube page. For any questions related to the presentations and discussions, please use the chat session. The moderator will read the questions out. For any other issues relating to the Zoom platform, your connectivity or any other, please use the comment section and our team members will assist. You are encouraged to raise your hand if you wish to speak. The moderator will then state your name before you are allowed to speak. This session is recorded and provided simultaneously. Sorry, I take that again. This session is recorded and provides simultaneous interpretation in Arabic, English, and French. Delegates are advised to follow the meeting via a channel they are most comfortable with and to avoid switching between channels. If you are following this session in the English channel, kindly speak in English when you come to the mic. I will hand over the session to Mr. Bryce Abba. Mr. Abba is the Stakeholder Engagement Manager at Afrinic. Welcome once again.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Brun. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you, Mr. Bryce.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to share the agenda for everybody. I hope you can see the agenda.
Yes, we can see the agenda, Bryce.
My camera too. Okay, good morning, everyone. And again, I would like to welcome you on this new session, NewComers session that would be as shown. So we just done the opening. So we are going to discuss about the internet ecosystem, and we'll do a deep dive into what is Afronic Limited. And after that, we'll talk about Afrinic initiatives and the fellowship program, and also the sponsorship program, and more of the activities that we are doing. After that, we are going to have the Affinity resource update and the policy development process and the policy update, and we'll end by onboard you on the how what are the elements of an Affinity meeting and how the Affinity meeting are organized. NewComers session, and I will mainly talk about the internet ecosystem in this session. After that, Afronic Limited, and I will end with Afrinic initiative before to hand the floor over to my colleague James, who will continue with the Afronic resource update. Let's talk about the internet ecosystem. So we basically describe what is the internet ecosystem and the elements. We will try to understand the role of each of those elements, and at the end we try to explain why we in Africa have created Afronic. This is the definition for internet ecosystem. So it's basically the same use to describe organizations and community that have organically evolved to guide the operation and development of the technologies and infrastructure that comprise the global internet. Those organizations share common value for the open development of internet. So in one word, so the internet ecosystem is made up with all the organizations. So we have like even the end users, we have the Afrinic, all the organizations, the tier 1, the tier 2, and that are operated, that are active to make internet what is it today. So from the technology creator from the application development to the end user, we are all part of the internet ecosystem. And this graph shows you some of the key components of this internet ecosystem. So I'll go back. So we have the open standard. So these are organizations that are working to create standards that devices are used to connect to internet. So on internet we have the backbone, but we still need the protocol to ensure that regardless the vendor you are using, you can connect to internet and discuss to implement those organizations are also very important for internet to work. We have local internet organizations, so we have government, we have internet society and local chapter. This ecosystem. We also have the education and capacity building, where we can find many of the organizations like Afrinic, Afronic, Internet Society. So those organizations are working you as internet user also part of this internet ecosystem. We have shared global services and operations. So we have basically the root servers, we have network operators, we have tier 1, tier 2, and exchange point, domain names, country codes, domain names. So we have all those, as you can see, the internet ecosystem is made by with all those elements. And it's very important to note that end users are also part of the ecosystem, because sometimes when we say ecosystem, people tend to think that we need to only consider those who are building the backbone, those who are creating the standard, but not as end user. You are also part of the internet ecosystem. Now let's focus on the area. So regional internet registry organization that the key function is to manage IP numbers, maintain the ensure that those resources are unique worldwide, and coordinate technical activities within each region. So those are the key functions of regional internet registry. And this graph shows you the evolution of those areas. So the first one was the central registry that was created in 1981 and was followed by RIPE NCC, which was the first regional internet registry created in 1992. And you can see that after RIPE NCC, we have Afinic and we have ARIN, the North American area, and LACNIC, and the last one is Afrinic. But you can see here that Afrinic was created in 2005, but we all know that internet was in Africa before 2005. So the question that we can ask is, before Afrinic, how the resources were distributed? Because I said that the regional internet, the core function is to manage IP numbers manage IP numbers to ensure that those IP are unique in the world and to coordinate technical operations within the region. But before 2005, we used to have internet in Africa. And the next slide would show you how Africa was divided. So Africa was divided into three. So the Indian Ocean was covered by Afronic. Middle Africa, the southern was managed by North American area, and the north and west, the east of Africa was managed by RIPE-NCC, the European Regional Internet Registry. But we should know that all those organizations work with their community, and their community develop rules to tell how the IPs will be managed by their regional internet registry. So we realized, for instance, that African economy didn't have the same reality that the others. For instance, an organization in Cote d'Ivoire, for instance, doesn't have the real the need of an organization in Europe. An organization here in Kenya or in Congo or in Burundi doesn't have the same reality that an organization can have in America. So we're in the situation where the policy that were created, policies that were created, were not really, didn't match the reality that we're facing in Africa. So this is why we say that it's also time for us to make our own registry. So work have started in the beginning of 2000, and in 2005, we have been able to set up our own registry. So here I put some key points that push the Africa community to create their own IP registry. For instance, the need of a registry of IP numbers. So the idea here was for the African community to develop their own rules that the local internet registry will use to allocate those IP numbers, because as I just said, the problem that an organization may face in Europe is not the same that an organization will face in Africa. We also need to provide proximity, because I know that some of the first ISPs that we have, the national ISPs that we used to have in our countries, were obliged to submit that the payment of the membership was done by another organization in this country on the behalf. So it was very complicated. So we need to provide proximity to our local operators to be able to interact with their own regional internet registry. We also gave the opportunity to Africans to create their own policy, to tell how their resources will be managed in accordance with the issue they are facing in the continent. For instance, we have the smaller IP block that an organization in Africa can ask is /24, when in some of the region the smallest is /22. So you can see that according to the size of the organization, the size of the customer, the reality is not the same. And we also we have been able to increase the capacity building program in Africa, because we are our own registry. We can coordinate with the others actors on the sector on the continent to build the capacity of our stakeholders. And today, this is what we have. We have 5 regional internet registry. We have RIPE-NCC for the Europe, RIPE-Ireland for North America, LACNIC South America, Afrinic for Africa and Indian Ocean, and Afinic for Asia and Australia, and also for the Pacific. So this is the area system today. And we are now going to focus on Afrinic and before how the internet numbers are managed, after how the internet numbers are managed. So all the areas are getting the IP block to the central registry. This is public technical identifier over the IANA function. So the IANA function basically gives blocks of IPs to the areas here, Afrinic, RIPE-NCC, and Afinic, and those areas allocate those IPs to the members. So this is basically what is happening. So Central List is giving IPs to regional internal registry, and the regional internal registry are giving IPs to the members. So it's the same principle mechanism like the central bank that we have central bank in most of the region, and for instance in ECOWAS we have our central bank that give money to each countries, and countries manage use the country to meet the requirement, the objectives, and so on. So this basically what's happened. Afrinic is getting blocks from IANA function, and Afrinic give the block to the internet mobile operators, the organization that are in the Afrinic region. Now let's talk about the AF Stars. So AF Stars are organizations that are working together in Africa for a better internet, and these organization includes many other organizations in many sectors. Like you can see here, we have internet numbers, we have policy, we have content, we have name research, infrastructure capacity building, and so on. So it's very important for you to understand the AF Stars, because next week we are going to talk about AF Stars, we are going to talk about activity of AF Stars, and so you should know that those are organizations that are working in Africa for a better internet. And here are some of them. So we have Afronic, that the key function is numbers. We have Africa Set, that is security, African research and education, FP infrastructure, IFTLD, domain name, Afronic, capacity building, ISOC, African chapters for internet development, Africa, IGF for internet governance in Africa, and many other organizations that are coming. Today we have like Women in ICTs, we have many other organizations that are working for a better internet in Africa. Those organizations are called AF Stars, and you can see that some of them, the name of most of them start by AF, you can see Afrinic, Africa Set, Afren, AFPIF, Afnoc, IFTLD, but it's not limited only to those organizations that the name start by AF, but all organizations that are working for a better internet in Africa is part of the Africa internet ecosystem, is part of the AF Stars. So I hope it's clear. Now, as per I will continue. If you have question, I will take the question at the end. And I'll continue now with the deep dive into Afrinic Limited. So I will start with the Afrinic role in the internet community, and I'll also highlight the services that we are providing to the community, and the role also of Afrinic within the community. And I'll also tell you how you can you can contribute to Afrinic development and Afrinic activities within the continent. This is the recall of the area system. So as I just said, Afrinic is in charge of the Africa region and one part of the Indian Ocean. We have been incorporated in 2005. We have over 1,900 members, 45 full staff. The HQ is in Mauritius, and one of our main data center is in South Africa. Today we have some sites in Kenya, and our IT team is working to create like other data center in each of African regions. So one the central, one the middle of Africa, in the west, and another in the north. So our IT infrastructure is still evolving to help to better serve our community. Afrinic mission is a secure and accessible internet for sustainable digital growth in Africa. Our mission is to serve the African internet community by delivering efficient services in a global multi-stakeholder environment. And our core values are excellence, passion, integrity, and community driven. Afrinic is governed by a board of directors. So we have 9 seats, as you can see. Afrinic has 6 regions. So we have North Africa with 1 seat, West 1 seat, that is seat 2. We have Indian Ocean 1 seat, Central Africa 1 seat, Southern Africa 1 seat, and Eastern Africa 1 seat. So each of the African region is represented by 1 seat, and we have 2 non-regional seats. Non-regional seat we have 2, and the seat number 9 is for the CEO. So the board of directors members are elected by Afrinic members, by Afrinic paid member, resource members. So they elect the board of directors, and the board of directors recruit the CEO. And the board of directors recruit the CEO. The CEO will then sign my contract as staff. And the CEO also create the election committee that we'll talk about later. So I just said that we have 6 regions: North, West, Indian Ocean, Central, Southern, and Eastern, and 2 non-regional seats, and the seat number 9 is for the CEO. So the board of directors have many committees that they work. So right now they are working on 3 committees. We have the audit committee, we have the finance committee, and remuneration committee. We also have the council of elders that we're going to talk about later as well. So that the main function is to advise the current board of directors. We have the nomination committee that we'll talk about, but the function is to find candidates for all elections that Afronic is organizing. And the election committee is made of staff for administrative part of the election. And I just talked about the members, Afrinic members, that the one who sign contract with members. And we have the governance committee that they have given advices on the matter of corporate governance. So this is basically how, in a nutshell, how Afronic is managed. Now, these are the current board of directors. So in orange are the seats that will end during the next Afronic AIS. So as I said earlier, we have we have options for you to participate. If you want to participate, those are the 5 seats that will be open for the next Afrinic meeting, AIS 2022. So those seats are the orange are the seats that will be open for the community to apply for the next Afrinic meeting. And you can see the names of the current board of directors of Afrinic here. So the slide will be shared with you if you want to, and you can see it. And all those information are also available on Afrinic website. And as you can see, per seat, per region, and the seat number 9, as I said, it's a Afrinic CEO. We have 3 types of members. We have the resource members. So the resource members are like mobile operators, universities, banks that come directly to Afrinic to get the IP numbers. Okay, and they must be legal entity. They sign a contract with Afrinic. They use our IPs. They pay annual fees. They elect board of directors. They can also be observers if they want to. So this is the first type. The second type is the registered members. So the registered members are board of directors. Board of directors. So they sign contract with Afrinic. They can elect, and they can also be observer if they want to, but they can't, like they don't pay annual fee. And we also have the associate member. This is the last type of member that we have at Afrinic. So they can be a legal or non-legal entity. They sign contract with Afrinic, they pay annual fee, but they can't elect board of member of the board of Afrinic. So they can't do that. They can do that. They can be observer as well. So we have 3 types of members. We have the resource members, that are organizations that mobile operators, internet service providers, and banks, and so on. And we have a registered member, we have the board of directors, and we have associate member, we have anyone who want to contribute to develop internet in Africa. The Afrinic community. The Afrinic community, so now we are talking about Afrinic ecosystem. So I said that Afrinic ecosystem, we have Afrinic members and we have Afrinic community. So we just talked about the members, now we are talking about the community. So the community are individual for member or non-member organizations that are based in Africa and operate in Africa. They are not a legal entity, so they don't sign any contract with us. They work over mailing lists and they deliberate the resource policy. This is very important. So this community work on how Afrinic should handle the IP numbers for their members. So it's very important for members to be part of this community because this is the place where the African community decide how Afrinic will manage the IP numbers. Afrinic community meeting, still in the Afrinic governance, we have Afrinic community meetings. So we have at least one meeting, and Afrinic meeting are a forum where the technical community, policymakers, governments, and internet users meet, share know-how, and discuss policies for internet betterment in our service region. And so it's open, as you can see, and Afrinic has to organize one per year, and each meeting composed we have the annual general members meeting, AGMM, and we have a not legal public policy meeting. So we have these events when we organize one of our meeting. Each meeting has those events, the AGMM and the public policy meeting. We have two types. So we have what we are calling AIS, Afrinic Internet Summit, and we have Afrinic standalone meeting, that is the one that we are currently doing. So if it's the first time for you to be at this new conversation, note that in the middle of the year, we have what we are calling Africa Internet Summit, where we have most of the AF stars are getting together to organize a big 2 weeks event for the internet community in Africa. And at the end of the year, what we are doing now is the Afrinic standalone meeting that is happening most of the time in November, end of November, beginning of December. It depends on the Dover international event as well. And this meeting can be attended by government, policymakers, decision makers, internet users over the world. So as I just said, we have a place for everyone within our African community, in our community. If you're a lawyer, if you're a teacher, sometimes people think that this community is so technical that they will be lost when they are connected. But I can assure you that there is a place for everybody. If you're a lawyer, if you are doing something you think might not help the community, you can come and you will realize that you have your place in the internet community. We are going to talk about the nomination, the different committees, some of the committees that we have at Afrinic. So we have the nomination committees. The appointment is 4 members appointed by the board. And those members, we have the composition. 1 member will be in the board, 3 volunteers selected from the community. So as you can see, the nomination committee, the responsibility is to find candidates for any type of election that Afrinic will organize. So you see here that you don't need to be techie to be member of the nomination committee. So your background doesn't really matter in how you can help Afrinic to move forward. We have the election committee. The election committee is created by the CEO and is made up is composed by the staff, Afrinic staff. And we are mainly running administrative tasks when it comes to election, only administrative tasks when it comes to election. We have the governance committee, that the composition is here. We have 2 members appointed by the board, 3 members elected by the Afrinic membership, 1 board member, non-voting appointed by the board as liaison, Afrinic legal as advisor is non-voting, and 1 more member from the secretary as non-voting. So you can see that even in this GovCom, as member of Afrinic, you can also contribute to help Afrinic to move forward. And as you can see, the core function is to give advice on the corporate governance matter. We have the Council of Elders appointed by the board, and it's made of the former chairperson of Afrinic, and it's mainly to advise the current board of directors and the chair. So all those committees, it's important for Afrinic to show you that you have a possibility to participate. As you can see, you have many committees when, regardless of your background, you can contribute, you can help. So it's not a matter of being technical at 100%. You can contribute to the Afrinic ecosystem. The Policy Development Working Group is one of the most active working group that we have at Afrinic. And this working group work over a mailing list. And this working group select 2 coaches to coordinate all the activities of the working group. So the goal of this working group is to develop and adopt the policies that Afrinic will use to manage the resources. So you can see how it's made. So we have the CEO with the election of the appointment of the election committee if we need to run an election for the community. So we are ready for that. We also have the policy liaison that the CEO appoints to assist the working group in some of its activities. So we are going to talk about this policy liaison, and we are going to talk about the policy development working group in details later in the day-to-day. But it's very important for you to notice that this working group is one of the most active that we have in the community, and we are currently having many policy updates that we are going to talk about later. Now we have the appeal committee. So the appeal committee is made with 5 members, and you can see the composition of those 5 members. And again, here we need, if you're a lawyer, you can be a good person for this appeal committee, but we have some requirements. But basically, the goal of this appeal committee is to review the decision made by the coaches during the public policy meeting on the decision on the given policy, whether we have consensus or not. So the appeal committee goal is to can be called by the members of the community to review the decision that have been made by the co-chairs. And here again, we need people, we need new people, we need fresh blood, we need new idea. If you think you can participate, please register our mailing list. When the position will be open, you can apply and prove that you can do it. These are the Affinity Services. So I just spoke about the Affinity governance. I said that we have the board of directors. I said we have public policy meeting, we have committees, and now these Affinity Services. So we have community development. What we are doing, we have reverse DNA for Afrinic allocated IPs. We have facilitation of policy development, capacity building, IP address allocation, autonomous system number assignment, and with database maintenance. So these are the key services that we are providing, but you will see in the next slide that we have a lot of initiatives that we are doing for the community, and we'll know more about the services that we are giving are part of those key services. I'll also encourage you to connect to this link and register to those mailing lists. So anonymous is very important for you. Here you can see, you can be aware of what we are doing. Policy discussion, as I just said, is where the community is discussing about how Afrinic will manage the IP numbers for its member. We have IPv6 in Africa, where we give advices for those who want to deploy IPv6, and we'll see later on the initiatives and services, what are the other activities that we are doing for our members and community with regard of IPv6. We have ICANN, we discuss African affairs in the African community. We have community discourse that is very wide. It's a list where we can discuss any related, internet-related issue in our region. And we have member discourse that is close to Afrinic members only. So we can connect, and please register to at least announce an RPD community discourse to be aware of what is happening in the continent. If you want to contact us, you have those information. They are also available on our website. So you can just call us, you can send us mail, you can email us, and so on. So there's the ways of contacting Afronic. Also here, I will take the question at the end, as we just said. I will end my first part with the the first part of this slide deck with the Affinic initiatives. So I'll talk about 3 of the many Affinic departments. So we are stakeholder engagement departments, research and innovation, and capacity building. And these are activities that Affinic is doing, part of the key function to manage IP numbers. So this is why we want to also tell you that we are doing more than managing IP numbers. So the stakeholder engagement in the community development part, we have the fellowship program where we are giving financial assistance to individuals to participate to Affinic meetings when they are in face-to-face. We have Fire Africa program where we are assisting local community to take the project to the end. They can have a project, but then they need financial assistance to take this project to the end. Here, we can use the Fire Africa to assist them. We have ICT event sponsorship as well. If you have an event that is internet related in Africa region, we can also assist you by giving you financial assistance, by giving you technical assistance as well. We have the community reunite where we want to be more close to our community. We are working. We want to be present when our community asks call us. So with the community reunite, we are ready to come closer, to come meet you in your country, to come participate in your ICT event. We also have the public meetings that I just explained. We have 2. We have the AIS meeting and we have the Afrinic standalone meeting. And we have capacity building workshop when we're invited to participate in the ICT event. We also give presentation and we also organize workshop. Now in the government engagement, so here we work with governments to see, to understand the problem, to understand the need, and we are giving advice. We also we are doing also knowledge sharing. So for instance, one government can have a good knowledge on a given topic that might help another government. So we are talking with them to coordinate all those actions with the government engagement. And we also we are also helping them to develop IPv6. So we are helping right now 5 governments in the IPv6 project deployment. IPv6. We have now the corporate. In this cooperation development, in this area, we sign MOUs with African organizations that can help, that we can work together for a better internet in Africa. So we've signed MOU with South Africa, ISOC Africa, ITU Africa, Arab Internet Intercommunication Union. So the goal here is to join effort to help our community to move forward to develop internet, to have a better internet in Africa. So this is the goal of the cooperation development that we are doing as stakeholder engagement. Research and innovation, we have many initiatives here. We have like Africa Internet Measurement. So the idea is for us to be able with some partners to be able to put on a web page where each Africa country can see the internet traffic that they are using, what type of IP they are using, the data they are using. And we also have the research and collaboration project where we work with students, with engineers, with doctors to create tools or statistics that will help our community. We also have Fire Africa that I spoke about earlier, where we give financial support to some Africans that have some project. And for instance, the Affinic research and collaboration project have to fall under those 2 areas. So we have technical infrastructure, we have internet usage and access, we have internet resilience, we have internet standard and protocol. Here we are actively working with Internet Society to promote a working group that will work on open standard. It's almost ready, and I know that we'll talk about it next week during the Affinity 34 week. We also have internet policy and governance. So as soon as you have a project that falls under those points, you can talk to us and we see how we can help to take your project to the end. We at the capacity building development, we have many initiatives, like we have the e-learning. Today we have an e-learning platform that help individuals in the continent and above to connect and take IPv6 courses. We have our certificate platform that can, if you want to prove your IPv6 skill, you can just connect and try to book your exam. And we also have webinars that are also available on our web platform. So if you want, like, we have many webinars that we organize and that are recorded. And if you want to participate, you can connect and see the upcoming webinars. If you are not be able to participate, you can also read the recording. So these are some activities, initiative of the capacity building department. The DO help desk, where we are helping our members to deploy IPv6. During deployment, when they find a problem, they can send an email, they can connect to this web page. We bring our members on at the given venue, and we are taking them, we are helping them to push the IPv6 deployment and the API. When it's not on face-to-face, we deployment to the end. So this is the end of the first part. After that, I've explained why we have created Afronic, the need of Africa community to be their own rules to tell how the IP numbers will be. After that, I end with Affinity for the region. I hope that this for the next presenter. Thank you. James, you have the floor. The floor is now yours for the Affinity Resource Update.
All right, thank you, Brice. Let me just share my slides.
Okay, Jens, please go ahead.
Right, do you have my slides? Just confirm if you can see my slides, please.
No, we are seeing your web browser.
Yes, we are seeing, yeah.
Yes, now it's okay.
All right, thank you. All right, welcome everyone, and thank you, Brice, for the introduction. In my few slides today, I'll take you through, rather, I'll take you closer to the operations of Afrinic as a registry. My colleague has touched more on the ecosystem. He has introduced you to the other organizations that we work in collaboration with, as well as initiatives that we undertake. I'll take you through mostly on the membership, resource management. As you know, Afrinic's core business is about management and distribution of IP number resources in the region. So that's one of the aspects that I'll take you. And finally, I'll just reiterate on the services that we also offer as Afrinic, in addition to what my colleague has earlier on spoken about. So speaking about membership, Afrinic is a member-based organization. You'll recall that my colleague introduced about the 3 categories of membership. The biggest group of our members comes from the resource members, and practically resource members, these are those that come to Afrinic to get IP number resources. When we speak of IP number resources, we are talking of 3 types of resources. We have the IPv4 addresses, IPv6 addresses, and autonomous system numbers. So as a member-based organization, right now we have 1,992 at least active resource members. The others, my colleague already introduced about the associate members. We have 4 associate members at present, and he actually detailed mostly on the registered members being the board members as well. So I'm just iterating on that. This membership, as you can recall, Afrinic covers a region that consists of the mainland and the islands around the mainland Africa. So these are distributed in, or these are categorized into different regions, as my colleague earlier on introduced. So you can see in my slide the distribution of our members across these regions, highest being South Africa, the Southern African region, which has almost 42% of the entire membership, followed by Western Africa, and the rest, as you can see. So it's a wide distribution, as you can see, and we actively try to engage with our members from all the regions. So what does it entail to be a resource member? According to our bylaw, any legal entity geographically based within and providing services in the African region can become a member. But before they can become a member, they also need to justify their IP address needs. This is in accordance with what the current policies says. So we have our policies consolidated in the Consolidated Policy Manual, CPM. So there's different policy stipulations in there that applies to all the 3 categories of IP number resources that I introduced earlier on. So before anybody can become a member, they need to also justify that they have a valid need to have access to these IP number resources. Upon justification, they also have to agree to the terms of the service agreement. So if they are comfortable with the terms, because the terms also enforce some conditions that the member has to abide to during the existence of the agreement. So upon meeting these conditions, one can be assigned the number resources that they have requested for or that they have shown enough justification for. The membership at the moment is across different industries. So Afrinic as a service, as a registry, don't only offer IP number resources to a specific kind of industry. We provide IP number resources to anyone as the bylaw introduced, but they also have to provide enough justification. So any network operator who can come and justify would be able to get the number resources. As you can see on my slide, we have quite a wide distribution of industries that we are currently serving. The highest though being the internet and internet-related service providers. We also have members in academia, governments, banking and finance, non-governmental organizations, international organizations, and it's quite a wide. So any network operator, regardless of the industry, can become a member can become a resource member of Afrinic. In addition, Afrinic also provide further support to such operators of critical infrastructure, as well as academia and research through its billing model, whereby there are discounts that are applicable to this kind of members. To become a member, all you need to do is ensure that you meet the eligibility criteria that I have mentioned earlier on. Make sure you also understand the policies so that once you are a member, you stay in line and you abide by the policies. You maintain your membership by paying your annual membership fee. And also, now if in case you are not a member and you have a network operation that you would wish to learn on your own portable IP address space, which you can get from Afrinic, the simple steps to start is after you've gone through those three links and feel confident that you are eligible enough, you can go to that website at nmrp.afrinic.net to initiate your membership request. Now, having looked at what it entails to become a member or be a member, let me now move and speak a bit more on the IP number resources. I'll start by introducing the, or rather talking more on the current IP number resources, IPv4 in specific. So IPv4 currently at Afrinic, we manage about 121 million IP addresses in IPv4. This represents about 3% of the global distribution amongst the five RIRs. So Afrinic only has roughly 3% of it, which is about 121 million. We've currently allocated 95% of it to our members. We have an available pool of which represents 1.4%, which is currently available for our members. You'll see the depreciation graph in the next slide, but at the moment, the current available pool is 1.4%, which is roughly 6,600/24s. We also have a pool of reserved resources, which makes up 3.3. These reservations are for various reasons, some policy-based and some returns that are under quarantine until they can be made ready for reallocation. So at the moment, Afrinic can only give a maximum of a /22 of IP addresses, which is 1,024 individual IP addresses. This is due to the current policy in place, which is what we call the soft landing policy phase 2. This came into being on the 13th of January when Afrinic reached its stipulated threshold for the phase 2 of this soft landing. At the moment, we only have 1.6 million in the free pool. And then for the maximum, we can only give 22, and the minimum is at 24. The /24 is practically based on the IPv4 best practice in terms of routing or global announcements of prefixes. So most operators normally don't accept anything less than a /24, and that's why we also, or the policy was framed in a way whereby we can give a minimum of a /24, nothing less. So according to the same policy, we also look at your needs of 8 months rather than what used to be in the past, which was 12 months. Right now, if you want to demonstrate that you need IP addresses from us, you need to show us a detailed IP plan for at least, for a maximum of 8 months or less. So here's just a graph showing you how we have depleted our IPv4 pool over time. You'll see that from between 2013 and somewhere in 2017, or rather, 2017, the rate was kind of faster until at 2017, it kind of slowed down a bit. That was due to policy change, where there was a limitation set. We could only give up to a /13 of IPv4. The consumption was still slightly higher until 2020, as you recall in the previous slide where I mentioned of the 13th January 2020. You will notice that the graph kind of flattens because the phase 2 was kicked in, and we moved from issuing a maximum of a /13 to a maximum of a /22, which kind of slowed down the consumption. You can read more about the policy on our website under the Consolidated Policy Manual. And you will see that the graph also shows you at the bottom a layer of the 4,000 that I mentioned about that are in reservation. So this is the current state for IPv4. Now, next we'll look at IPv6. In IPv6, we also have, we've allocated about 9,700 /32s to our members. This amount reflects only 0.95, just about 1% of our entire pool that we've received from IANA at the moment. So we still have plenty of IPv6 compared to what we have for IPv4, which IPv4 we are almost at the depletion. We currently, out of our 1992 members that I mentioned of earlier on, we have about 1,013 members that already have IPv6. And most of them, we are trying to work with them and get them to start the deployment sessions. That number represents 51%. And in our initiatives to get the members to deploy IPv6, we do have that e-learning platform. My colleague earlier on also introduced this. And we also have the IPv6 deployathon sessions, including trainings as well. So this is what we have, the adoption of IPv6 over time in terms of our distribution. We are slowly growing. Sometimes we do get those huge jumps due to operators who come in and big operators that can come in and they start rolling out IPv6, so they are having plans to roll out IPv6. The next and last resource is the autonomous system numbers. So autonomous system numbers, as at date, we've issued out about 2,066 autonomous system numbers to our members. Annual assignment distribution, as you can see, we have a steady growth in the past 4 or 5 years. And this year, I think we have issued more than the previous years per count. My last topic is now just to introduce you to some of this, to the services that Afrinic offers. So as Afrinic, and in our day-to-day operations of managing the IP number resources, what we make use of is the WHOIS database. This is a record of the registrations the people or the companies that we give these IP number resources. The WHOIS database contains valuable information that you can make use to know any operator that we've given the resources to. In case of whether you are making your network plans, you need to get in touch with them. You can get details that you can use for that. Sometimes you also get on the wrong side of things where maybe a network is being used for abusive practices. You can also make use of the WHOIS to get either the abuse contact or even the technical contacts so that you can reach out to them for a resolution. Similarly, we also have the RDAP, which is actually the version of a WHOIS, but practically good for machine-to-machine talking. The next service is the Internet Routing Registry. And Internet Routing Registry, this is where we publish also records of the association between autonomous system numbers and prefixes. With Internet Routing Registry, it is a key feature or a key service in present days where IP resource hijacking is rampant. In this way, with the information from the Internet Routing Registry, you can use it to actually generate automated filters. You can also use it to take those automated filter generation and run them, or rather configure them on your routers for effective prefix filtering. You can also use the information from routing registry to also make your proper network plans, because it has the possibility of giving you a global view of the internet. And also it contains, you can be able to also know the next hops based on the information that are published in the IRR. The next service we have is the Resource Public Key Infrastructure, RPKI, which actually is also key in preventing route hijacks. RPKI is, as you can see, is a public key infrastructure-based solution which uses public-private key to secure your BGP configurations regarding your route announcements. So RPKI is another service that we provide. The other services that we provide are reverse DNS. For the prefixes that we provide, we enable you create your reverse domain on our system, and then we redirect the queries regarding your PTR records to your name servers that you have recorded with us. And then on top of that, you can add DNSSEC, which would help in protecting the information transmitted in between the queries and the responses, to ensure that no rogue or external information is injected into this transmitted information. The last one now is the IPv6 help desk and the e-learning platform. So these are some of the services that we provide at Afrinic. Thank you all for your attention, and this brings me to the end of my slides. Back to you, Brice.
Thank you, James, for your presentation. We will now continue to the next presentation. That will be, okay, we have a question. Maybe we'll take the question at the end. Broom, can you confirm? Are we taking?
You can take the questions now, it's fine.
Okay. Oh, Daniel, you can unmute yourself and yeah.
Hope you can hear me. It's Daniel. I'm the chair of the GovCom committee. But my question specifically would like to ask about IPv4 addressing. Of late, Afronic went into the process of trying to reclaim IPv4 addresses, and also there were some addresses that had been stolen, and then Afronic did a very good job and brought them back into the pool. Do these addresses here, are they going to go back into the pool such that they can be applied for? And then also, does it also affect the soft landing policy? I'll be happy to know that. And if yes, how does it change or affect the policies that have been passed over a given period of time? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Daniel. So I think you've put up two questions in a way. First, let me address the part whereby you're asking about the reclaimed resources, whether they go back into the pool. At the moment, the soft landing policy spoke about how we will navigate from what we had and when the threshold comes in, but it never said of the condition that we have now. So basically, when we reach that point where we are approaching maybe the prefix that is reserved by the policy, I think this is something that will go back to the community to now address how Afrinic handles any prefix that has been reclaimed or could be reclaimed, to see if now they still fall under the same policy or something else has to change. But this is a matter of community discussion under the policy discussion group itself. Right now, what Afrinic has was the determinant of how we get into the soft landing and soft landing phase 2 based on the threshold of based on thresholds and the amount of IPs that were there at that time. So I think the second part was trying to understand the status of some of the prefixes. On the other part, also some of the prefixes, as you might be aware, that there are some court cases that are happening. There's one with regards to one of the prefix that was reclaimed after misappropriation. So that also cannot be, at the moment, we may not be in a position to touch that prefix as there's an ongoing case. So until that case reaches the end, then we can be able to properly touch and even provision it to the members.
Thank you, James, for the answer. I hope that answers your question, but moving forward, please, any other questions will be taken at the end of the session so that we can actually finish the session in time. Thank you. Back to Mr. Bryce.
Okay, thank you, Obram. So yes, as she just said, if you have question also, you can type it on the chat and we'll take the question at the end of the presentation. So I'm going to now talking about the policy development process and the policy updates. So to do that, I will talk about Afrinic PDP. It will be basically why it's important for us to attend and how is the PDP made, how to participate after in the PDP policy development process. Also explain how and why it's important for you to participate. And I'm going to finish with the policies that will be discussed during the next AIF 34 meeting that will start next week. Okay, why do we want our community to be more involved in the policy development process? It's basically because internet is everywhere. Internet is today human right. And when we are talking about internet, we are talking about IP numbers, because each IP, each device connected on internet, each network connected on internet must have an IP number. Networks must have autonomous system numbers. Devices must have an IP address, IPv4, and or an IP basis address. So it's very important for our community to be involved in the regional internet registry system. Decisions or rules that we are using, my colleagues James at member service are using to allocate IP numbers to our communities are created by our community. So this is why our members must be on this list, and as a resident in Africa, you must be present on the list, because we are talking about how we are going to assign, we are going to give you IP for for your computer, for your fridge, for your everything to get connected to internet. And when we are you are on our list, when you are on our platform, you are helping us to improve, to increase the internet, the impact of the internet in our continent. So it's very important for you to be on our list. So number resource management policies are guidelines by which Afrinic, as I just said, manage the resources. And we have also a guideline of the services offered by Afrinic around those resources. We also developed by the community and developed by the policy development process. So the policy development process is a set of steps by which African Internet Community process propose, deliberate, and adopt the policies that guide the use of number in our Afrinic region. So it's, in one word, it's just like we have a process with different steps, and where each action can take place for our community to propose, adopt a given policy that Afrinic will use to issue IP numbers to its members. And the PDP is open, so it's transparent, and it's a bottom-up process. So the community decide, and the community elaborate and tell us how we should manage the IP numbers. The IP numbers. So policies have to be related to how we manage IP numbers, and these are proposed. Those policies are proposed by the community. They are transparent because we documented everything. We don't hide anything. It's open. You can connect regardless your country, regardless your position, you can connect and read and contribute. We also have the principles of the policy development process. Openness, as I just said, anyone can participate. And because you can see we are working over mailing lists, those mailing lists are open. So if you are new, we'll help you in the later on to be active, to participate as well in those mailing lists. Transparency, everything is documented and publicly available. We also have archive for the past discussion. So if you want to, if it's the first time to participate in this RPD mailing list, you can simply go back to the archive and try to understand what is going on. So everything is there, is documenting, nothing is hidden. And fairness, though, one of the key role of most of all the regional entities is to ensure the fair distribution of resources. So as soon as the policies are there to ensure this fair distribution of IP numbers, we are happy, and the entire community is happy and is following and is contributing to make it happen. We have as my colleague just said, we have all the policies that are ratified are in the document that we are calling the Consolidated Policy Manual. And the PDP is documented in this document in the section 3. So the PDP is defined and documented in the section 3 in this section. And today we have many proposals from the community that attempt to amend and achieve this update, this section 3 of the current Consolidated Policy Manual. So if you want to know the details of the PDP, how it works, and I would like to invite you to connect to Afronic website and on the Consolidated Policy Manual and read the section 3 to have more information about it. If one of my colleagues can paste the link to the CPM, that will be awesome. The procedure in the PDP are designed to be fair, open, objectives, as I just said. So we want to give opportunity to participate, to be free when they participate, to be free when they contribute. And most of the decisions are based on consensus. So we have many policies, we have proposals that are discussed, and when the community is agree that this proposal is good for our community, and you can now move to the next step and adopt this policy, and Afronic will use this policy to manage the IP numbers. And if you want to amend, as I just said, if you want to modify any part of the consolidated policy manual, it has to be through the policy development process. So you cannot like find another mechanism, another way to try to shortcut this, the PDP. It must be through the policy development process if you want to change, if you want to amend any part of the consolidated policy manual. This is the policy development process. This is the simplified policy development process. So what we have to do, first of all, is to register to the RPD mailing list. So when you're on the RPD mailing list, you have to post your proposal to the list. So basically, it's going to be a proposal that will help, that will guide the African internet community to help develop internet, to help manage IP numbers within the region. And when you submit your proposal to the RPD mailing list, it has to be discussed at least 4 weeks for the policy to be eligible at one of the Afronic public policy meeting. So if your policy have been on the list for like say two weeks or less than 4 weeks, your policy is not eligible to be presented during one of our public policy meeting. And when after 4 weeks we bring the policy meeting, we can discuss your policy, your proposal at the meeting, and you can look for consensus. So if we have consensus, so when after 4 weeks, your policy is here. So for instance, next week you are going to have some policies that I'm going to show you later on. When we have consensus, your policy move to what we are calling last call step. If there is no consensus, your policy goes back to the mailing list for further discussion. Now let's assume that after more than 4 weeks, your policy have been discussed to a given public policy meeting, and your policy reach consensus. Your policy will be sent to the last call for 2 weeks of discussion. And if after the 2 weeks we still have consensus, the consensus is maintained. If the consensus is maintained, the board will be advised to ratify the policy. And when the board ratifies the policy, your policy is now in Afrinic staff hand to be implemented and to be used to assign IPs to our members. So today we are here. Okay. We're about to discuss many. We have 6 policies that will be discussed during this AF34 meeting. So what you have to remember is that register to the RPD mailing list, post your proposal. The Afrinic staff, the policy liaison, will help you, will assist you to put your proposal in the right format. After that, if your proposal have been discussed 4 weeks, it can be presented during the next public policy meeting. And if during this meeting you have consensus, your policy will be pushed to the last call period of 2 weeks. And if the consensus is still maintained, your policy will be probably ratified by the board of directors. If the consensus is not maintained during the last call, then your policy goes back to on the list for further discussion. The Afronic policy manual. So we have the policy manual. So all the ratified policies are on the Afronic website and on this link. So this is what we are calling the consolidated policy manual, where we have all the ratified policies, the policies that are still valid on our region. And this document is updating when we have a new ratified policies. So when a policy is ratified, when the policy has been amended and been ratified, we as a policy liaison have to ratify this, we have to modify the CPM, and we do it as soon as we have a new policy ratified or a new policy that is have been amended. I've explained this in the first part of the deep dive into Afrinic governance. So we have, as I said, at least 1 meeting per year. And for this Afrinic 34 is going to happen from Monday to Friday, and today is the pre-event day where we take the newcomers to this ecosystem to explain them what is going to happen next week. And you can have the agenda here. If you connect there, you can have the agenda of the events that that are going to happen next week, starting Monday. The working group is coordinated by the PWE co-chairs. So we have 2 chairs that are coordinating the working group. And we currently have Vincent from Kenya and Darwin Da Costa from Angola. So those are the 2 co-chairs. They are volunteers, so they are not being paid for that. All the committees that I've explained, that are just shown in the first part of this slide deck, this newcomers day, are volunteers position, so you're not being paid. But when we have a meeting, when we have a face-to-face meeting, and we think that your presence is needed, after we take necessary action to make you travel from your country to the venue. So this is something that we do, and those co-chairs are supported by Afrinic Secretariat. So this is what we are calling the policy liaison teams. So it's myself, Brice Abba, and Matthew Gokul. We are 2 on the policy liaison teams that are assisting the co-chairs in the work to help the policy development working group. How to participate? It's very easy. You have to be interested in how Afrinic is managing the resources. You have to be interested in how internet is moving in our region. If you understand like English or French, that's fine. Most of the discussion are in English. So this is one of the concerns that we are receiving from our French community. And we are trying to address it by bringing like interpretation during our meetings, but we know that it's not always easy for them to follow the discussion. But we have archived, and most of the emails that are sent are still on the system, so that they can call and use translation. And if they need help, they can ask questions. And if they need help to understand the policy, they can still contact the co-chairs or even the community on the mailing list for more details on the given policy. So internet access, email address, and adhere to the code of conduct. You must adhere to the code of conduct. If you cannot follow the code of conduct, then it's going to be very complicated for you to stay on the mailing list, because people want to be on the mailing list to participate. They want to be free to participate. They don't want to be in the situation where people, when they are receiving like inappropriate behavior. So you have to follow the code of conduct if you want to be part of the community, African community. You subscribe to the mailing list and look up the proposal. So on this link, you will see the policies that are being discussed on our list, our mailing list. So if I would also like you to connect and see the policy. So it's not because I say policy that is like a book. It's not a book. So they are technical policies. They are related to IP numbers. So they are not very long. It's like 1 page or maximum 2 pages. So in 1 week, you can read all the policies that are there and trying to understand the policies that are available. So this is doable in 1 week, because as I just said, it's like 1 and 2 pages maximum, because they are technical policies. And so it's not like a book that will be reading. Now, another good tips is, as I said, to consult archive, because it's very important to be on the thread. If you don't want to talk about a given issue that have been raised like 2 weeks before and have been fixed, if you want to be up to date, it's better to go back to the archive and read, look for the thread. It's very important for you to, I really like per year and per thread. You open the thread that you want to to understand the trade that you want to participate, the trade that you want to contribute to. You look for this trade and you read all the emails that have been sent to this trade, read the proposal, read the amendment, the comments that were on the list on this proposal, and you try to see if your issue have not been addressed yet. Then you express your issue. If your issue has been addressed and you are happy by how it has been addressed, you also can tell that this was your issue and you realize that it has been addressed at this date. This shows that you are connected to the community. It shows that you are following the PDP and what the discussion that are on our mailing list. Today, because of COVID, most of our events are online. So what we can, the advice that we can give that to contribute to the upcoming mailing list, to the upcoming event. So you have to look for the title of the policy, and we have the ID of the policy, and you can also, as I just said, go to the archive and look for it and read to understand. We also want to encourage remote participation, and also for our members, because our members are not really represented on our mailing list. So we want to encourage our resource members to be on the list and to contribute, because it's very important. Today is online, so nothing prevents you to attend. So you can attend. Most of the participants all the participants will be online. So you are going to have the same opportunity that the one that used to be in face-to-face in the past. So today we are all like remote. So we are going to have equal possibility to participate. So I will end by telling the 6 proposals that will be discussed starting Wednesday next week. So the first proposal is the PDP Working Group Guideline and Procedure that was proposed by one of our community members. So the idea behind this proposal is to address some problems defined in the PDP. So as I just said, the Consolidated Positive Manual in the section 3 talks about the PDP, and this proposal try to bring some clarification on the PDP. We have the inter-area resource transfer comprehensive scope. So this policy will allow inter transfer within the Afrinic region. So we basically, right now we have a policy that allows inter-transfer. Inter-transfer means that when you are in the Afrinic region and you are Afrinic member, you have the possibility to get an IP, more IP block from another Afrinic member within the same region. Okay, and this policy is opening this opportunity to other organization, other entity out of the Afrinic region. So you can be in one of the far over region, and they can take resources from Afrinic region, and the members in the Afrinic region can also receive IPs from the region. So this what this policy is about. We have publication of information is a policy that look for a publication of information about resource request justification after community agreed periods of time, unless there is a valid demonstration of the need of extend to the confidentiality period. So basically, the author asked the members, Afrinic members, to be able on this policy, to be able to share to the community the reason they have applied to become an Afrinic member. So this is basically what this proposal is about, and it's going to be discussed also next week. The 3 other policy is another update of PDP. So as I just said, in the section 3 of the Consolidated Policy Manual, in the PDP process, the policy development process itself. So this policy is giving another clarification. So they're giving more details in how the policy development working group should work. And these policies have been proposed by 2 of our community members. and this policy is going to be discussed also next week. So the idea behind is they realize that they say that they have the points that are not clear in the current policy development process, and in the proposal they propose, they gave more details in how we should proceed. We have the policy compliance dashboard. So this policy would like to Afrinic staff to be able to set up a dashboard where they that will show the details of the CPM or the Resource Service Agreement. So in a nutshell, Afrinic staff will be asked to create like a dashboard where each member can go and check whether it still matches the reason why he has applied to Afrinic membership. So he can adjust if need be, and that will help Afrinic that will help the community and the members to ensure that they are still respecting the consolidated policy manual, and they are still respecting the terms that are in the contract that they sign with Afrinic before to become members. So this is basically what this dashboard this is basically what this author wants Afrinic to be able to do for our members. We have, after the last policy that will be discussed, is the Afrinic number resource transfer policy. This is another policy that also allows inter and intra-area resource of IPv4 autonomous system numbers. So this policy basically allows members out of the Afrinic region to send the IPs into the Afrinic region, but prevent members into Afrinic region to send the IPs out of the Afrinic region. So this is what this policy is about, allowing out of region organization to be able to give more IPs to members with the Afrinic region, but prevent Afrinic members to give their IP address out of the region. So these are the summary of those 6 policies that will be discussed next week, and I encourage you to go read the archive. Starting to this weekend, we are going to have some discussion on the mailing list. So I really like to encourage you to register to the RPT mailing list. We are going to, the co-chairs will make available the summary of those policies with more details, with the concern that have been addressed, the concern that have been raised but not addressed. So we are going to have a table where you can go for each policy and have the updated, state of each of those policies. So I would like to encourage you to register to RPT mailing list, because this information is going to be available very soon. I would like to thank you for your time, and I hope this has been informative for you. So I talk about the policy development process. I said that it's very important for you to participate, because internet today is everywhere, and internet is IP numbers. So you should participate. How we decide, how people tell Afrinic to handle those IP numbers, it's very important for you to be part of this channel when people are taking decision, because internet is IP numbers, and decisions around IP numbers are taken during public policy meeting for the African region. So I would like to thank you, and I will give the floor now to my colleague Abiade, or maybe I give the floor to Bloom if you want to say something. Thank you. And
Abiade can go, please.
Okay.
Abiade?
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Abiade.
Hi. Yes.
Hi. Can I be allowed to interrupt a bit?
Okay.
I just wanted to, I'm not sure if my video is visible.
Yes, we can see.
Yes, we can see you.
Okay. I just want to say a few words, which is it has been the norm when we have our normal face-to-face meeting. We would come with some few board members to greet the newcomers and encourage you. It could be a session where things could look very new or different, but each one of us, I've looked at the name of people here. Each one of us, one day, it was our first time and we all felt lost. So we just want to encourage you, and we hope to see, as Brice said, we hope to see a lot more people, whether young or not, joining Afrinic, okay? Joining Afrinic, because there is this saying that Susan likes to say, that we are Afrinic. When we say we are Afrinic, we go much more beyond the staff of Afrinic, because the staff of Afrinic by themselves cannot. Oh, by the way, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Eric Ihura, and I'm the CEO of Afrinic. Maybe that's also another part. We all somehow operate as a family, and we think that we know each other in the same family. So I just want to say, we are Afrinic means much more than the staff to us. It means the staff, but it means the community, the members. Even if you don't have IP resources, you can find your niche, you can find your voice, and your voice will mean a lot. Because just imagine if we were all the same, if we're all, I am from Rwanda, if we only had Rwandese in this room, we will not be Afrinic. But when we have people from different angles, from different space, and also it's not necessarily that you need to be an IT person. Like I can see some other person here who are not IT. Internet today is reaching far beyond IT, and we want to see more and more involvement from people of different sources, of different background, and who are going to enrich the context, the content, and so on. So I just want to invite you to be part of We Are Afrinic. I want you to also be able to proudly say that you are Afrinic, because we want to be able to have a bigger impact on this continent. When we consider the pandemic, you see that when we talk about working from home, school from home, and all that, sometimes it is remote reality in Africa because of how our space is. And it cannot just be businesses that come and invest. It also needs to have different people from different angles. So this to just say, we are all here for you during the meetings. If you feel a bit lost, just reach out to one of us. I think we'll have Afrinic with now in the face-to-face, we have Afrinic staff with a badge of Afrinic. Now we need to find a way to have that, so that in case you feel a bit lost, you can poke anyone, and we will take the time to lead you, guide you towards the right person if we're not the one to give you the answer. So thank you so much for your interest, and we want to wish you a long and rich journey with us at Afrinic. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Eddie. Thank you for coming in. That was insightful. Okay, so my name is Abiadi Dosimo, and I would like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is what the power of technology has done. We can reach each other from wherever we are in the world, and have a conversation and discourse. So moving forward to what I'll be talking about today, I'll be walking you through the things you have to know before the meeting starts. So I'll also explain to you the things you need to know during the meeting, and also things you need to know after the meeting. So what do you need to know? The first is you have to get registered, and for you to be here today, that means you've registered one way somehow from the website, and that's the meeting.afrinic.net/Afrinic34. And for you to get the guide about the platform, again, this is Zoom. Everybody knows how to use Zoom. But in case you need more information about using Zoom, you can get that from the link on my screen. That's meeting.afrinic.net/Afrinic34/participate. During our meetings, we have etiquettes. We have, we need to respect each other. Sometimes it gets heated. The conversations gets, very, very tough, and, we need to respect one another. Even if we are not in person, we are remote, we still need to apply etiquette. So you can get that information on the link you see on my screen. And regarding privacy, you can visit the link on my screen also, on my slide, which is afrinic.net/privacy. We will not sell your data, we promise. Okay, so the meeting sessions, which will be starting, which started today pretty much, which is the NewComers session, which is the pre-events as you see on my slide. The next one is going to be on Monday, which has to do with the Afrinic Services session, the stakeholder engagement session. The following day will be the official opening of the Afrinic 34 meeting. Then we'll have the CEO's roundtable. As you heard what Eddie just said, we're going to be having a meeting. Eddie's going to be having a meeting with top CEOs, executives in Africa and probably in the world, different people coming, and we're going to have a discussion with Eddie. And after that, we'll be having technical presentations from different people. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn about several technologies out there, and it's going to be an interesting session for everyone. And we're going to learn new things. On day 3, it's going to be our public policy meeting, which Bryce has given us an overview. He has also explained to us some of the policies that will be discussed that day. And it's really nice to have you guys come on board, take notes, ask questions, and also contribute, because this has to do with everyone in Africa. Day 4 is the continuation of day 3, which is also the public policy meeting day. Then at the end of day 4, we're going to have a virtual online closing cocktail. So what are the things you need to do during the meeting? Like I said, you need to take notes. You need to contribute to the discussion. You can go on the mic. We usually have an open mic session at the end of each meeting day. So you can take notes and ask your questions. Feel free. We always listen to you. We hear from you. If you need more information, we're always there, even after the meeting, to give you more granular detail of what you're asking for. So how do you prepare for the PDP discussion day? Again, Bryce has given us an overview about this. He has given us a very, very insightful information about this. We can go on afrinic.net/policy/proposals to educate yourself on the policies that will be discussed that day. I think there are about 5 or 6 policies that will be discussed, and you can get yourself accustomed to the policies prior to that day. So when you come, you just understand the flow, and again, you can contribute. So after the meeting, we usually give a gift to people. So please feel free to participate in the survey. It's going to come up on each day of the meeting, starting from Monday. You fill in the information and be honest about what you are filling in, and you stand a chance to win something. I'm not going to tell you what it is, so top secret. Okay, so mailing lists. So we have a mailing list. Again, my colleague Bryce has explained that. You can join the mailing list to contribute, give your opinion about things. Who knows, you can even write a policy and tell us about it and see how we can implement the policy. So for you to join the mailing list, you have to visit lists.afrinic.net and enter your email, your username and password, and then you get to join the mailing list you want. There are several mailing list there. So you just pick the ones you're interested in. Okay, so that's it for me. It's quite short, and we can go to the mic right now and ask any question, or go on the chat session so you can put any question you want to ask over there. Then we have Bryce, we have James to answer questions, and myself also. Thank you very much. Over to you, Brume.
Thank you so much, Abiade, and thank you so much, Bryce and James, for your sessions. Please, if any one of you have your questions, now is the time to actually write your questions on the chat so that it can be addressed.
Okay.
So I'm just going to hold on for a few seconds to see if there will be any questions on the chat before I conclude.
Okay, before you conclude, I will also want to remind the participant that next week we are going to use another platform. So we are not going to use Zoom for starting Monday. So this and information center is very important for you also to take into consideration.
Yes, that's right.
I don't know if you have questions. I also want to give some advices for the newcomers. You can be maybe shy. You can be hesitating when if you want to take the floor, if you want to ask questions. I would like to ensure you that you have to ask your question, even though you think that is a question that might be easy for the stakeholder in this ecosystem. But remember that we are not from the same ecosystem. You must ask for clarification, or so don't ask the question.
Yes, it seems no one is asking any question, and when there is no question, it seems like everything is perfect. So because of that, we are going to end the session on that note. Ladies and gentlemen.
Brume, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
So we have one question in the chat that we'll take.
Okay. I can't see any question here, but
okay.
No, there's a question. It says, does Afrinic have competitors doing the same job? And do you all share resources, members, or what happens? So, Bryce, do you want to answer that question, or?
Yes.
I mean, I can answer it too.
Before we conclude. So does Afrinic have a competitor doing the same job? No, within the same region, we don't have any competitor. As I just said in the internet ecosystem presentation, we as a regional internet registry are 5 in the world. So we have 1 per region, and within Afrinic region, Afrinic is the only organization that can issue and allocate IP numbers to members. And because the work that we are doing is different from the one that internet service providers are doing. So when you are getting your internet access with your internet service provider, you must have IP to be connected to internet. But this is not the same. We are issuing IPs to your internet service provider and your internet service provider using those IP to connect you as customer to internet. So this is what. And do you have all share resources member, or do you have all share resources?
So there is a second question. If you're done answering, Mr. Bryce, the question is Afrinic an NGO or a private or limited company?
not for profit.
Are you here, Mr. Bryce?
Okay, I think Kishna has answered. Kishna, I think you can put on your mic to answer that question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Abiali. Right. The answer is, as I put in the chat room, Afronic is a private company limited by guarantee. Limited by guarantee means that it is a status usually attributed to organizations which are there to provide a service and mostly not for profit. So here we are. So Afrinic, as one of my colleagues, James, earlier on, as well as Brice mentioned, it is a member-based organization, and it's good to clarify and add on that as well, that Afrinic is a not-for-profit organization. So depending where we from where we come from, for some would say that it's an NGO, others would say that it's a non-profit organization, but the commonality there is that it is not there to make a profit. I hope I've answered the question, Abiadi.
Yes, you have. Thank you very much. Kishna is our legal, is part of the legal team at Afrinic, and he has explained that. If anyone has any other question related to that, I'm sorry, Breme, you should be doing this, but you
okay.
can go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's okay. So thank you so much, Kishna. There is no other question. In view of that, I would like to bring this session to an end. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us during this session. At your own convenience, please feel free to leave the room. Also remember that the Afrinic 34 online will start on the 15th to the 18th of November 2021, and it will run from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock UTC. The meeting will take place on Medical and will be streamed live on the Afrinic Facebook page in English, French, and for the first time, Arabic. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.